Okay, so we're going to try this again. I am messing around with streaming and showing off my skred tool. I did about a 10-minute demo and was not streaming at all, so we're going to try it again, and I'll try to talk as though I haven't just said the same thing 10 minutes ago and forgot what I am saying now versus what I said before. So anyway, we're testing a couple of things at the same time. One is I've never had a microphone on when I've done this, and secondly, I want to show a new feature inside skred. So my friend Trevor made a suggestion when we were talking about this tool that beyond the pattern system, which I've never really described much here, it would be nice to have some ad hoc way of repeating events. And so he kind of gave me a very logical way of doing this, and I kind of rearranged it to the order that the skred live parser works. So anyway, let's show this thing off instead of mumbling about it. So let's start up skred first of all. And I've shown this before, you know, just the basics of starting a sine wave oscillator. This is the notation. You point to a voice, you give it parameters, in this case set the kind of default volume to it to 4. These are kind of arbitrary. They're based on me playing with the Amy synthesizer from the Tulip project, although skred is its own thing now, and my notation has diverged greatly from that, but I do appreciate that project. Anyway, this pattern should give me a default voice. It's a sine wave. I can show it this way, and it shows you what the kind of the defaults are. Voice 0 with waveform 0, which happens to be a sine wave. Frequency 440, which is concert A. Volume A4, and this N next to the output shows a MIDI note number, which the F and the N can get out of sync with one another, so I'm not sure how much this display, it's not always authoritative, and I need to fix it at some point. The whole point is that you can specify frequencies by number. That's probably too low to hear on my speaker. Or you can specify by MIDI note number, which by conventions, note 69 is also concert A 440, so it won't sound any different. But if I go to 68, that will be the equally toned or equally tempered scale, one key down from middle A. And this is what I'm talking about. If I hit question mark, it shows me the frequency, but when I hit the frequency manually, it doesn't update the MIDI notes, so that's where this is a little wonky. Anyway, sorry for that little side detail. The whole point of this was me to show off the repeat function, and maybe the most sonically interesting way to do that is to use some of the built-in samples that I've got with skred. Once again, those are leached from the Amy project. I've informally chatted to those dudes on their Discord channel about this, and they said go for it, but if they change their mind, I may, which I don't think they will, but if they change their mind, I may have to put some different values in here. Nonetheless, my samples, I'll pick first of all, let me turn off this guy. That's the notation for doing a key up or turn the thing off. And so I'm going to switch over to voice 10 and use waveform 202, while the amplitude of 20. This will let you hear it. It's just a little snare drum. So what Trevor suggested was just some way of repeating this with some number of count and amount of time in between the values. And so I do that by putting things in curly brackets, typing what I normally do at the console here. I'm going to simplify that because we've got the voice set up, using an R command, telling it the number of times I want it to repeat and the amount of time in seconds between each repeat. So 0.5 would be half a second. Fingers crossed. All right, so there you go. Now I can do this in conjunction with a feature that I have not demoed very clearly, which is a defer function, which says, I'll just show it. First of all, let me set up I'll do it with the snare drum. So if I hit tilde, a number of seconds, and then the command, this says a half a second from now, do the thing that followed it. So you see that has some things in common with what we just did there in the previous repeat example. So if I utilize that here, where I say tilde plus, I'm not going to do 0.5 because that's close to what we're doing already, and I want to play the snare drum at a lower volume level. So let's just break this down. That's the first part of the command which you saw before, which plays the snare drum with its full kind of natural volume, and then in 0.25 seconds play the snare drum with half volume, and then do this repeat 8 times, half a second between each. Fingers crossed that this gives the effect that I think it does. So you can see what's going on there. You can kind of change it up a little bit to have some usual patterns. And then, of course, you can do something entirely different, like setting up another oscillator with a different waveform. I think this will sound okay. So let's change this up and hit that. So what does this sound like? Okay, so one little wrinkle here. What both the defer function and the repeat function is doing is throwing things into what I'm calling a work queue. Say that you put a large number on here, like 32, and then you're disappointed that it doesn't sound the way that you want it to, and you would like to stop it. So since there can be many different things in that work queue, I've added another parameter to this repeat, which is a tag value, and there's a default value that's given with a tag for things that are queued, but I want to use a number that I know, because I wrote the code, is different from everything else. So this is going to start, let's put this to a big number, so this would be 64, so that would be 32 seconds worth of this pattern, and if I don't like it, then what? So it's just playing. I can see that there's things in a work queue, and they have this R thing, which corresponds to the tag that we just put onto this. So I've added a command called rbang with the tag number, which will just remove those things from the work queue. So that kind of gives you an ability to queue up a lot of different things separately, because there can be a lot of these in flight at the same time. Let's break this up into 2 pieces where I have and these will be out of sync because I don't have a clear story for that. But let's just say that I put the snare drum in the work queue with the tag 100, and then I put the ship sound, or whatever that is, deferred by 0.25 seconds, V11L1. I have not tested this, so God only knows if this is actually going to do what I think it should do. We'll repeat this one a little bit, twice as many times, but with half the speed and a tag of 101. Okay, and so I probably should change this a little bit too. So anyway, that's the string. We'll see what it sounds like, and the whole point of this is being able to stop one side without affecting the other. So if we look at our work queue, see that there's 101 entries in there, and I can remove them, and then I can also remove the other one as well. So now there's nothing queued up, and I think that kind of shows off the features that I wanted to show off. Let me leave you with clearing this all out and showing off a couple of performances that I've set up here. This is just loading a bunch of skred code from a file named 100.sk into skred. It shows what it's loaded, and this is a pattern-based thing, so the command for starting a pattern is Z1. And turn it off. And then because I don't have a good story for clearing patterns, I'm going to go ahead and just quit out of skred and start it up again and show another pattern, which I've shown this in videos before.